And welcome back to Janky AF and Year of the Aerostar, episode number 43. I have a little red on here, and I think this is going to be a real nice one, real special one for me. So shout out to Solid Snake. Is that a Metal Gear Solid reference? User Solid Snake wrote some very nice comments on my videos. Had an Aerostar, lost it in a car accident. Very sorry to hear that, and is looking for another, or maybe I am assuming that they're looking for another, but I'm trying to help either way. So I thought we'd take a little southern swing. They're in Florida, but moving to North Carolina. So I thought that was a perfect little, eastern seaboard little run. See if we can find some southern gems, and I think we have found one already. So here is a 1994 Ford Aerostar minivan, listed for just $2,500 in Conover, North Carolina. Driven 235,000 miles, automatic transmission, exterior color burgundy, interior color burgundy. And ding, 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 here is, when you're like the millionth shopper at a supermarket and all the confetti flies down. This is like a holy grail car for me. So, Aerostars did come with an all-red interior. I've been very into all-red interiors lately. Actually, I just, actually, I'm not as privileged information, so I won't release it yet. But there's some news coming about a red interior. Not this van, unfortunately. But I've always loved the red interior, and on Aerostars, for some reason, it just really stands out because you're used to the gold or the gray. And I guess we should show you a picture here. We'll get back to the description in a second, but we'll scroll through some pictures. A little unorthodox this time, but I have to sort of get to this beautiful, just stunning red interior. And again, our seats, even though they kept the two-tone theme alive, they're slightly different colors. We have like a burgundy on like sort of a light, mauve maroon, and of course your bright red headliner, which looks in excellent condition. Probably the cleanest headliner I've ever seen on an Aerostar, which is remarkable. Maybe the red just held up better than the tans and the blues and everything. Red carpeting, and it's almost like every different color is a little bit different, which I love. Variation on a theme. So this red looks a little bit brighter than the dark burgundy in the seat, which of course is a little bit darker than this. It's almost like a little purplish hue in it, and then the carpet looks just a little bit different than the seats. So just stunning. Now I don't know how rare these are, and just through my years and years of looking at Craigslist postings and other postings, I have seen some red interiors, and I kind of like, it's like, oh, that's a red interior. Kind of, you see all sorts of different varieties in Aerostars. But over the years, I feel like, and especially doing this series, I've realized just how rare, at least to me, through my, anecdotal yet deeply anecdotal evidence, that the red interior is quite rare. And for some reason, I kind of peg it around 92 to 94. Again, I have no real evidence to support that, but it seems like it kind of came. It wasn't in the earlier cars, and then it kind of went. And you see through 95 through 97, the Aerostar, it was ramping down its production, especially 96, 97. Those are sort of afterthought years for Ford anyways, and so a lot of the Aerostars had like your standard guises, like your white cargos or your green over golds or your greens. And a white over gold was one, and usually a tan and gray interior, which, are all beautiful. Earlier on, you had some blue interiors. Of course, my friend Evan's Aerostar, which used to be my Aerostar, has a blue interior in it, and you saw that was sort of a 90s, late 80s, early 90s things. Now, of course, like the Cadillacs, the Bromes, and all those cars, a lot of luxury cars in general, Buick LeSabres, which I also have a 95 Buick LeSabre. It seemed like, red and blue were the standard. Anything other than gray or tan or black, red and blue were the two colors they would venture forth with. Again, I love a green interior, and that did happen a little bit in the 70s. I'm starting to see some stuff in the 70s, but I think a green interior, highly underrated. But I digress. So to me, this has sort of become, you know, as time has gone on, the red interior has become kind of a holy grail thing because I just never see them anymore. And I think it looks so, so cool. And now I like desperately want one. And the fact that this interior is in such mint condition, I don't care about the 235,000 miles. You know, I don't care about some defects on the outside, because you can work with anything you have. You know, you could engine swap this vehicle, you could clean up all the exterior, you know, you can do body work. But once interiors are, you know, tarnished to a certain degree, it's really hard without totally replacing the upholstery to get them back into a really, really nice state. I mean, headliner, everything is in really good condition. So I'm just sort of really, really smitten. Now, of course, we do have a little wear and tear here, and we do have some, you know, the carpet has a little bit of stains on it, and your steering wheel has a little bit of fade on it, but certainly nothing that's not, you know, irreconcilable. Like, you know, you could sew this up, and yeah, it's got a little wear in it, but it's the driver's seat, so that is expected. And, you know, again, these are not museum pieces. These vehicles were used for a purpose, and you see a little dust there. But boy, just, you know, all the elements that you take for granted in these Aerostars, the sun visors, the door cards, the door, you know, handlebars, all your interior plastic trim, which is also in very good condition. Not really any like cracking or warping going on from these pictures. Your dashboard, your under dashboard, your steering column cover, your steering wheel. And of course, I love the steering wheel, and of course, it looks great in red. Your floor mats, your carpet, your dog door cover over the inside of your engine compartment access, your seat belts, you know, like everything is red, and I love it. Even looks like your seat tracks and your sort of cover for your seat release and stuff like that. All that is just red out, like everything is red, and I love the commitment to it. It's so funny. These are all, I guess, just modular panels, and they just went with the red. But, you know, it's funny, like, it must have, I don't know if it costs any more to do this, to like tint them red, but certainly, you know, for how many of them they made, it seems like, you know, this would have cost the company money. Maybe not, but, you know, anyways, nowadays they're rare, so I just love this. So let's go back to the description real quick, and then we'll get into some more exterior pictures and talk about that. Pretty brief, runs and drives fine, has some body damage as shown in pics. Just put all new brake calipers, rotors, ball joints, fuel pump, and filter. So quite a bit of recent work. It sounds like the car has been taken care of. I tend to trust, you know, people who do work to their cars, because usually, you know, and there are some, you know, very janky mechanics out there, but usually you're either good enough and willing enough and knowledgeable enough to do your own work, or you're not. There's not a ton of in between. Now, people may disagree with me there, but I kind of like buying a car that's been recently serviced, and if the person knows about the car, they can tell you things that might need to be changed soon or things that were just changed. You just have a more sort of accurate picture of what's going on with the vehicle. Great description. So, boy, this is a great shot, sort of wide angle lens. Now, this is like sort of a teaser or like a spoiler alert, but I've noticed on a lot of I did a brief kind of search of I actually did a 500-mile radius around Athens, Georgia for, you know, just for sort of random reasons. Although in the next video, I'll get into a little bit of the Georgia connection here, but I found a lot of these Aerostars in this area have these sort of like, they definitely have to be aftermarket, like sort of slicer style wheels, but for being like sort of just a random wheel you would put on, maybe just the bolt pattern lined up, so people chose this wheel often. But I seem to see a lot of these in this neck of the woods, so that's kind of interesting how maybe they came into fashion down in a certain locale or something like that. Neither here nor there, but they certainly do look really stunning on this Aerostar. And I have to say, like, my temptation would be to put red steel wheels on this, because I love painted steel wheels to complete the red out effect. But certainly these are very, very attractive, and they do look great on the extended model. I kind of like that it's an extended. I've been looking for an extended, you know, obviously the shorties with red interiors are very, very cool too. But this is just like one of my perfect specs. I really, really like this. And of course, I've kind of, you know, not complained, but sort of wished out loud that Ford had made more of a fire engine red, in addition to this more sort of like dark. It's not quite a burgundy. It's still in the red, but it's just sort of a dark red. But certainly with the red interior, the red on red kind of looks great. So I don't even mind it, and it's kind of you know, the whole thing is like this sort of monochromatic variation on a theme. Excellent picture there. We do see that the rear bumper cover has been cracked. on one side. It is present on the other side. These are tough to find, and I imagine for the extendeds they may even be a little bit more tough to find, but certainly, you know, it could be tracked down eventually, or maybe you just have to buy another Aerostar to get the bumper off of it, you know, and that's never a bad thing. Front bumper, I think this is salvageable. It might take quite a bit of, you know, creative ingenuity to sort of get this all back together, but I think there's enough there that you kind of piece it together. The sides are the really hard thing to replace, because how do you like do the bends and all that? But for a pretty straight line, I think you can make that look decent. Obviously some sun fade here. Now this is interesting because if you're here, it says $1,000 on the windshield here. I don't want to give away their phone number, but that's very curious to me. So I'm wondering if this vehicle could actually be had for $1,000, which, oof, if that's the case, I'm in trouble. So, you know, the dream here would be if this was an all-wheel drive version. If this was an all-wheel drive version, I'd probably be headed down to North Carolina right now. But it's certainly very tempting despite that. You do have a little bump in the quarter panel here. No big deal. That can probably be pounded out and then, you know, touched up if needed. A little bit of sun fade on the roof there, but boy, isn't that just stunning. My oh my. So I was really excited when this one popped up, and I think we'll just go back and stare at that red interior again. Just miles and miles of it, and it looks so cool. It's funny how just, you know, as a painter, it's funny how you go in and just paint their windows and their walls and their ceiling and their baseboards, and all of a sudden, like, transformation, you know, it really is one of the coolest things to just paint something or change a color on something, freshen something up, and it really does make something feel different and new. And for me, the red interior on the Aerostar is like a whole revelation, because you see it in a light you've never seen it before, and it's just cool that Ford did this. Again, there were so many different variations of the Aerostar. It's a funny, like, little duality between the versatility of the vehicle and the versatility of, you know, the way that you could specify it. And you know, that's the Aerostar. And yet this singular shape and stylistic theme that sort of ties everything together, and that's just, you know, sort of a big reason, but one of many, that I just find the Aerostar such a fascinating vehicle, and have such a fondness and appreciation for it. And I've had a lot of people reach out lately and just talk Aerostars, and it's been so nice, and it's really cool to, like, sort of find all these other people that are interested in them, because as we know, they are sort of buried in the shadows, and these, like, sort of diamonds in the rough, you know, these unheralded gems of the automotive world. So I was really excited about that. You know, again, if there's anyone in the North Carolina area that wants to sort of facilitate something, or you know, make an agreement to acquire this, and you know, I would try to make it worth your while. But you know, that's all hopes and dreams. So, boy, been getting a lot of these great front end shots. And I will say, again, even the exterior in red gives a whole new sort of look at the Aerostar, and see it in a different way. I do really like the red, and I think I'd almost have to keep the gray bumpers, even though I guess if you wanted to paint them red and just totally red it out, that'd be pretty cool too. But I seem to like the gray for some reason on this. So there you have it. Boy, yeah, I'm going to be thinking about this one for days to come, that's for sure. So, thank you so much for watching. We've gotten new subscribers lately, very excited for that, and pleased with that. And we will be doing some merch soon. I've been getting requests for that. So a lot of exciting things here on Year of the Aerostar and Janky AF. And if you haven't and you're watching this and you liked it, please consider subscribing. It's free, it's easy, takes no time at all, minimal strain on your finger, and we really appreciate each and every one that we get. So there's a little pandering to you, and I'm gonna, you know, go off and drift into dreams thinking about this beautiful red on red 1994 Ford Aerostar minivan in Conover, North Carolina. All right, see you for the next one, and until then, Janky do thanky.
complete for mankind.